Environmental systems. Matter and energy are constantly moving through ecosystems, and managing these components is the key to maintaining a stable system with equal amounts of inputs and outputs, and with balanced populations of plants, animals, and microorganisms. This balance maintains overall stability and prevents dramatic change or collapse. In general, a system is a network of interdependent components and processes with materials and energy flowing from one component to another component within the system. The term ecosystem is probably familiar to you. This simple word represents complex assemblages of animals, plants, and the environment through which material and energy move. In a sense, your body, is a system that consists of trillions of cells and thousands of species that live on or in your body, as well as the energy and matter that moves through you. The idea of a system is helpful to us in ecology because it helps us organize our thoughts about the inconceivable, complex phenomenon around us. So, for example, an ecosystem might consist of countless animals, plants, and their physical surroundings, and keeping track of every single one of those elements would just be impossible. So what we do is we step back and we think about categorizing each of those individual parts into groups that have a role within a system, and we call this a niche. So by stepping back and thinking about the components of the system, so plants, producers, herbivores, those that eat plants, carnivores, those that are meat eaters, and then secondary carnivores or tertiary carnivores, we can actually break down the components of a system into a more manageable way to study and understand and see how the system actually works. It's easy for us to think about how energy is transferred within an ecosystem because we equate it with eating. So when we eat a plant, some of the plant from that energy enters into us. When something eats us, then some of the energy that was in us then goes on to the next consumer. So energy is a little bit easier to understand how it flows through an ecosystem. But the movement of matter is just as important. All things in nature are made of matter. But what exactly are the materials that flow through a system like an ecosystem, a tropical rainforest, or a marine system, for example? Well, we have elements such as oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. Those are the elements that account for most of the mass of living things. There's water. All of these things are considered matter, and everything that takes up space and has mass is defined as matter. Matter can exist in 3 different phases: solid, liquid, gas, and it's based on the difference in how their atoms are arranged. Matter also behaves according to the principle of conservation of matter. And what this says is that under ordinary circumstances, matter is neither created nor destroyed, but rather it's recycled over and over and over again. It can be transformed, it can be recombined, but it doesn't ever disappear for good. And in the home video, there was the moment where she talked about how every drop of water that's on this planet right now also was on the planet when it first started to form. And I always think that's a very powerful statement. So, how does the cycles of matter and the cycles of energy pertain to our understanding of environmental issues? Well, number one, we need to have a basic understanding of how matter, energy, nitrogen, carbon, water is flowing through an ecosystem. That way we can understand how some of these processes are starting to be disrupted. Second, how does this apply to our human relationship with the biosphere, with the planet? Well, we use natural resources, so water, elements, carbon, hydrogen, all of those things, to make an incredible amount of disposable goods. If everything goes somewhere and nothing is ever destroyed, where does all of the things go that we are disposing of? There's a sheer amount of disposable goods on our planet right now, garbage, that it doesn't just disappear when you throw it in the garbage can and the garbage man comes and takes it away. Where is it going? And because it is not disappearing and it is accumulating, these things are starting to disrupt the flow of elements and energy within the ecosystem. And once those things start to be disrupted, the ecosystem's ability to survive decreases. This week you're going to look at two basic ideas. General systems and cycles that exist on the planet, so the water cycle, geochemical cycle, how is nitrogen recycled, carbon recycled, those kinds of things. And then also how is human activity disrupting these natural cycles or these transformations of energy.